What's up, YouTube? I'm Terry Jenkins. Welcome to my channel. This is day one of rewriting Lust. This is the first book of my book series, Favorite Aries. So, like I said in the intro video, I wrote the book maybe 3-4 years ago, and I haven't published it because when I gave it to other people to read, I got positive reviews, I got negative reviews. So you read my blog, you would know it was like 4 positives and 2 negatives. And I decided for the last couple years, as I was editing and revising, that I wasn't really happy with a lot of the concepts of characters. And I realized that's because a long time ago, when this was still just an idea, back in 2002, I was trying to do too much. And there still is a lot going on in the book. So I decided to scratch everything. We're just deleting, not everything. I'm going to keep some of the chapters. Um, you know, a lot of the characters are based on friends have come and gone. When I wrote the novel initially, the characters were somewhat inspired by the Mighty Ducks. That's no longer the case. It was like CSI meets X-Men, and now it's like totally different. So I needed to go back to the drawing board and just start rewriting. So to help me with that rewrite, I have read several books over the years, making comic books, making novels, and I'm not an expert. I don't claim to be an expert, but I'm hoping that my journey helps inspire somebody else to want to write a book or want to make a comic book. And that leads me into what we're going to talk about today for day one. What am I making and why? So, I've been a fan of comic books and reading and drawing and writing my whole life. And not necessarily painting, although I think painting is cool. But those were my 3 things that I grew up, other than sports. Go Raiders. So, one of the books that I'm going to use to help me reconcept and rewrite my book is actually called The Complete Guide to Self-Publishing Comics by Comfort Love and Adam Weathers. And not necessarily sure if they're married, and if they are, doesn't really matter. They're a good team, and part of their book shows you how you go from, let me see if I can get the lighting better for you guys, how you can go from concept to writing to drawing, coloring, lettering, publishing, and marketing. And the first thing they want to talk about when you're doing your concept is, what are you making and why? So we're going to talk about that as I fix my light. These videos are going to be very informal. Taking after Keenan. And I'll explain to you who he is a little later on in the video. So I'm just trying to test out the lighting, make sure that you guys can see the light is still bright. I don't want to do that too much. But I'm fixing the lights. So, what am I making and why? So, originally, like I said, it started off as a comic book, and then it became a novel off a suggestion of a friend. And then, a couple years ago, I learned about Japanese light novels, which were basically novels with a couple pictures, not like picture books here in America. They're, in fact, I have an example. Let me get ones that you probably heard of. So, like, this is a Japanese light novel. And when you go through it, the cover looks like a manga with anime type drawings. And but when you start to read it, it's not necessarily a manga. It's actually a novel. And then, like, every chapter or so, there's at least one picture. There we go. And the pictures are black and white. So when I learned about Japanese light novels, I was like, hey, I have a novel. I can draw splash pages. I don't have the experience or the patience to do comic book type work. And I can't afford to pay for a writer, an artist. So these are actually pretty nifty. Um, but then so some of the titles that I follow, by the way, Sword Art Online is awesome. Is It Wrong to Pick Up Girls in the Dungeon? And Black Bullet. So I set out to do my light novel. And this is what I eventually came up with. And then I tried to move on and evolved. So this is book 2, actually. And that was before I took graphic design. And now that I took graphic design and read some more books on graphic design and writing, I now have a better idea. So I designed my book covers myself. And I'm not really too happy with those. And this was the original cover that I actually paid for. But I still want to make not a Japanese light novel. We would call it an original English language light novel. Now, the actual English name for Japanese light novels are called renobes. And since most people don't know what that is, I just decided to say that my book is a novel and I have an illustrated edition like the Harry Potter series now has and like Game of Thrones now has. So I'm making it because I love writing and I love to draw, and this was the perfect medium other than comic books where I get to put the two together. And I like graphic design, and it gives me a chance to be the designer of my own series. And plus, I feel like I tell pretty good stories verbally, and I want to take a stab at trying to make this a second job or my primary job if it sells well. Probably won't though. Oh, I'm supposed to be optimistic. Um, so yeah, so that's what I'm making, and now you know why. Let's see. I'm just trying to go over all my notes from the blog. So yeah, my inspiration for the series. So one of the things that they do talk about in their book, Adam and Comfort, is that after you do your concepting, you need to figure out what your influences are. Because once you figure out what your influences are, it leads you to research. And once you get your research, then you can start working on your characters and setting. And those will be videos for another day. Today, I'm just strictly focusing on what my influences are for the concept. So for favorite Aries only, right now, because I do have 3 other book series, Angel Protocols. I'm going on a tangent. Angel Protocols, The Pack, and Battle of the Rings, which are all working titles. Like even the book series names are still working at this point. But favorite Aries, I'm still motivated. I'm still inspired by the Seven Deadly Sins, and I'm still inspired by Greek mythology. So at the core, those will probably be my motifs. And I'm really a fan of like NCIS, CSI, basically murder mysteries, mysteries in general, and I like fantasy, so I know what my genre is. So another book that I'll be using to help me rewrite my idea is Save the Cat by Blake Snyder, which I also mentioned in the blog. And I think that's about it. Some of the other materials I'm going to show you in later videos. Um, so basically, there's three things you need before you can even start your outline process. And those three things will be you need your plot, your characters, and your settings. And right now, plot-wise, I felt like when I was writing the story long ago, they were basically kind of like secret agents. So the story itself in both books feels like Men in Black to me. So why not research Men in Black? Um, and then the setting has always been I wanted to get away from the vampires and the werewolves as far as the paranormal goes. So I decided to focus on ghosts. And I was a fan of Insidious, um, Gothica, Ghostbusters. I like those type of movies. And well, I like any movie with Halle Berry. Um, but my setting, I decided will be sort of like Ghostbusters, but I'm going to give it a fantasy spin. And then my characters are now going to be inspired by Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs because that gives me 8 characters. And I wanted to do a large team. And I know a lot of people don't like multiple character POVs, but that's what I'm going to be doing for the series. And I think it's going to be easy to follow because the 8 characters are basically going to be put into teams of 4. So it's really like you have 4 characters. And that's one of the things that we'll talk about more when I get to the character section of the videos. So yeah, so that's it. That is what so I'm going over what I made, what I am making, and why. I hope that you don't mind this being too informal. I have to be formal all day, every day, so it's nice to be able to just talk. Um, and my public speaking teacher will kick my butt if he knew I was saying so much. I'm sorry. I promise I will get better. The more videos I do, I'll probably get better. Hopefully I get better. So yeah, I'm making Favorite Aries. It's going to be a light novel so that it can be adapted into just a novel and hopefully a comic book one day. And I'm making it because I love to write and I love to read and I feel like I have a story to tell. And that's that. So, hope you liked the video. I'm sorry if it's a little long. I was trying to keep it under 15 minutes and I'm actually meeting my goal. So, let's go ahead and end this. You can click below if you liked the video. Follow me on Facebook at Facebook. Well, I'll have all the links where you can follow me below. You can also support me on Patreon. Even if you support me for just $1 a month, it's very much appreciated. And I will see you next time. Remember, be terrific.